So let's take a minute and walk through the theory underneath. Because what you hear is, well, we're probably just not implementing that correctly. It's broken at its root. There's no way to correctly administer poison if it's poison that you're administering. So let's talk about how this fits together. We're going to have achievement standards, and as you heard, No Child Left Behind said by the end of this school year that just ended, 100% of the children had to be proficient in math and reading and science. That means meet the bar. Can you mandate achievement? Well, you can. Does that mean it will happen? So when you mandate an impossibility, what occurs? Let me show you. Stand up. Wiggle your little tushies while you're up there. Exercise is good. Okay, this is vocal performance. When you can meet the standard, you can sit down, but you cannot sit down until you meet the standard. Are you ready? Luciano Pavarotti. Anybody who can sing like Pavarotti can sit down. Soloist with the New York Metropolitan Opera. Chorus member with the New York Metropolitan Opera. Soloist with a regional symphony. Chorus member with a regional symphony. Soloist with the church choir. Sings in the church choir. Sings in the shower and enjoys it. Can't carry a tune in a bucket. Can't find the bucket. Now, every state is mandated to say 100% of the children will be proficient. But the state could set the definition of proficient wherever it wanted. Where was it going to set the definition for proficient in vocal performance? Well, where did you all sit down? At Sings in the Shower and Enjoys It. I'm a teacher in a classroom. I have punishments if all of the children in my classroom do not reach my standard. There is no reward for anybody getting beyond my standard. So if the state sets the standard, it Sings in the Shower and Enjoys It, and the teacher is punished if every child does not reach Sings in the Shower and Enjoys It, where is that teacher going to spend his or her time? With the can't find the buckets out there. Getting them up to Sings in the Shower and Enjoys It. But what about the child for whom the standard should have been Pavarotti? Well, education failed that child. But it was a silent failure because that child could sing in the shower and enjoy it before that kid even entered the classroom. So they met the standard. No one knew that education failed that child, but it did. Now, in vocal performance, it's kind of an amusing anecdote unless you actually happen to be a child who is going to be a vocal performer. But what about if it's math or reading? This system changes the way that we look at education, and it changes the way that we look at our children. It used to be that the goal of education was to take that child and bring that child to his or her potential. But in this system, the goal of education is to meet the standard. The standard is the goal. And if the standard is low, you met the goal. Well, is it low everywhere else? When the Common Core standards were being developed, William McCallum, one of the developers, actually attended a conference of math educators, and they didn't like the standards. They complained a lot. And he said, among other things, don't worry because the overall standards won't be too high. Trevor Packer, who's the senior vice president of the College Board, spoke to the American Association of School Superintendents, and he said, calculus sits outside the Common Core standards. Common Core asks educators to slow the math progression down. The National Center for Education and the Economy published a document called Tough Choices or Tough Times. It was published in May of 2013. The document was called What Does It Actually Mean to Be College and Work Ready? Published in May of 2013. And they walked through what do we mean by these rigorous standards. And what they said was being able to do the very beginning classes in a community college. They went on to define that as more time on middle school math, Algebra 1 by the end of your sophomore year in high school. Because, they said, most community colleges begin with Algebra 1, so you don't need to have Algebra 2 in high school to take Algebra 1 in college. Nobody would do that. I come from the state of Pennsylvania. In the state of Pennsylvania, under Common Core, the high school math graduation requirement is Algebra 1. The test is called the Keystone Test, and the only one in math you have to pass to graduate is the Algebra 1 Keystone, and you do not have to pass it until the 11th grade. Because you remember Algebra 1 by the end of your sophomore year in high school. In September of last year, there was a debate, and there were 3 on the con side, 3 on the pro side, including the secretary, and one of the folks on the proponent side said to me, Peg, these are still high standards. They can still take AP Algebra 2. And I waited to see if anybody would correct him, but nobody did. Well, currently, if you take Algebra 2 in college, it's not an AP course. It's a remedial course. But if you don't have to take Algebra 1 until your sophomore year, that makes geometry your junior year, and that makes Algebra 2 your senior year. Now, the document, what does it really mean to be college and work ready, said that they were based on research. So I looked. You know, the US Department of Education actually does do research. In 1999, they published a document called Answers in the Toolbox, where they looked at what factors led to success in college. And what they found was that if a child had any high school math beyond Algebra 2, they more than doubled their chances of getting a bachelor's degree if they went to college. That study became the basis of a meta-analysis done in 2004 by Auburn University. They looked at 25 years worth of studies, and what they found was that if a child gets to calculus in high school, they are 28 times more likely not just to get a college degree, but to be a high achiever in post-secondary school. And that was corrected for race, socioeconomic status, and the kind of high school you went to. So in other words, the highest level of math you get in high school is the biggest predictor of success in college, and if you can get past Algebra 2, you will succeed. And if you get to calculus, you're almost guaranteed to succeed. Now, am I saying every child should take calculus? No. Am I saying every child should go to college? No. What I am saying is that no high school policy should deny our children the opportunity to have the coursework that opens doors of achievement for them in college. And Common Core closes doors that the US Department of Education absolutely knew needed to be opened. Isn't it funny that they didn't know in 2014 what they did know in 1999?